The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Hey there, ladies. Welcome to another reflection episode on the Balanced Lady Boss Show. This is a quote by Alvin Toffler, and it was mentioned in my recent interview with Nadeen Matthews-Blair, who is the Chief Digital and Marketing Officer for National Commercial Bank, and a friend of mine, as well as a colleague on several digital transformation initiatives. I was really happy to have Nadeen on to talk about how she is being a boss in the boardroom while navigating being a mother of two and an amazing wife and partner. And we had several gems that were dropped in that conversation. The one I just shared is literally one of many. And so I actually have my usual handy dandy notebook where I've written down just one thing from each segment that I thought I could unpack. Like literally, I could do a full hour on just these 3 points. All right. So thank you for joining Reflections. Today, we're going to be focused on the conversational tips, the little gems, the pearls that came out of the boardroom, bedroom bliss areas with Nadeen. So let's start with boardroom. One of the main points that I took away from the discussion was when Nadeen talked about deciding to take a break from working and going back to school to spend 2 years doing her master's degree. And this is actually very aligned with the quote that she also shared, as she's the one that actually introduced me to the quote. It's very aligned with that quote because essentially what she was actioning at the time, and she was 25 at the time, so not necessarily thinking about Alvin Toffler, but what she was actioning at the time was a desire to learn, the desire to expand her mental capacity and the value that she was going to bring to an organization. She had this dream of becoming a multinational corporate, which of course allows you to span the globe in your ability to offer your skills and expertise. And with that in mind, she literally went after her master's degree, leaving behind, working for a company like JP Morgan Chase, leaving that behind to go into this space of openness and learning. And I thought that was such a big, bold move because at the start of your career, especially when you're high flying in New York City, doing all the things, making good money, doing well for yourself, thinking about stepping away from that to educate yourself is not always a path that a woman takes on. And for some of us who are having challenges with climbing that success ladder, right? And achieving the goals that we want, or even if you're not having challenges, but maybe you see the ladder of success outlined a particular way. And it may or may not include your master's degree, but stopping to do it, right? Versus doing it. I know a lot of persons that have done their master's while they are working, because it may be considered, I'm missing out. I'm going to lose my place in my climb if I take a moment to step away to actually develop myself further. And I actually haven't been fortunate enough to at this point in my career where I'm taking things really, really, sincerely, been able to think about going to school and working. It's always something that I considered maybe I could do a course, which I've done many courses. I've done coaching, I've done executive coaching, I've done online courses, I've done, long conferences, and I've read books and done stuff on my own. But to step away full time to go back to school is something that would really take some serious contemplation and consideration, because you are also affecting your financial stability when you do that, right? But while it's a short-term impact to your finances, the long-term impact to the platform that you're building for yourself and the implications to your future growth and the future of your career can be exponentially positive. And I encourage you that if you're on the fence, if this is something that's in your space right now, think about what is available to you. Don't just box yourself in and say, well, I want to further my education so that I can be a better leader, so that I can be better at marketing, at finance, at whatever. But I would never leave work. So, I'm going to take on all of the different things, including school, right? Don't box yourself in that way. You can still look at the possibility of furthering yourself through your education by stepping away from work. Yes, it does exist. It is something I am considering, and it is something that Nadeen did, although early on in her career, it's still a risk based on, the dream and the vision that you may have for yourself. But all risks have mitigation strategies. And so you can choose and create any experience you want. And this shouldn't be different for any of them. So I just wanted to bring that one out. School and other types of self-development work is not something you have to take on and compromise your wellness or your well-being or your balance, right? The second point that I wanted to focus on was around bedroom. We actually spent quite a bit of time talking about the bedroom space, and this is because Nadeen has an extremely supportive partner and an amazing family with lovely children. And I wanted to know, okay, you're holding down, 2 C-suite roles, right? Because she's also the CEO of the company's foundation, right? You're literally holding down 2 major roles, and you're a mom. Like, how are you navigating that? She was one of the persons I reached out to as a part of my category that focuses on women that want families, right? And she was very clear that she was very ready to have her children, and she knew that she would do whatever it took in order to have them. Now, luckily, she had a partner that was already supportive and exemplified that. I actually really enjoyed the example that she gave where, a lot of women, especially in the Caribbean culture, it's almost a given, Caribbean and African, it's almost a given that you're going to be the cook, right? You're going to be the person making the meals, providing for the family, and then, the husband is there, receiving all the goodness. But he was the first one to cook. Her partner was the first one to cook. And of course, a way to a woman's heart can also be through her stomach, because I'm a foodie as well, so I love food. Totally got that. But she said something that was really interesting to me and that I wanted to share as a part of this reflection. She said that she believes that women who are high performers, who are in positions of power that are very demanding of them, need to it's 2 options when it comes to a partner. 2 options. You either have one who's supportive, so you either have a supportive partner, or you don't have a partner at all. And this was underscored by the recent win of the Vice President Kamala Harris, who her husband has decided that he is going to step back from his very high-powered, successful career to make sure that their home remains stable in support of his wife. Now, when you talk about a man that is supportive, that's what I'm talking about, right? So many of us as women are out here, even if you have a partner, you feel guilty about whether or not you're doing enough. And if you have a good man, a supportive man or woman, right, you may very well have that person that's your biggest cheerleader, that's your biggest challenger, the partner that is supporting you to say, hey, I don't want you holding yourself back because you're worried about me. I am here with you. We will work together to create the commitment and dedication that is needed to make us work. So think about that when you are considering who you're allowing in your intimate love space. Is it somebody that is supportive? Is it somebody that is all in, right? I mean, I imagine that Stedman is a very supportive partner because, Oprah is all these things. And even though they may have decided not to necessarily create a family through having children of their own, Oprah has a school of girls. There's a lot of responsibility, and he and her have stuck through it and created whatever agreements they needed to make and whatever commitment they need to make to each other and to themselves. Because as Nadeen was, and as I now am, because I wasn't always clear about being very, standing in my truth about my success and about going after what I want. Once I decided I was standing in that and not compromising that for a love partner or anybody else, I was able to attract the person into my life that is my biggest cheerleader and that is my biggest support system. Okay? So don't feel that you have to give up who you truly want to be in your heart in order to facilitate a man. The right one will allow you to experience both. Awesome. All right, last one now. Bliss. So in bliss, there was a couple things we talked about, but there was one main thing that Nadeen stressed, and that's the one I'm leaving with you all today. It is sleep. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Nadeen talked about the importance of sleep, and for her, the shift she had to make in order to make sure she was getting enough sleep, because if she explained very much how she was like me. I used to be the person that was thriving, actually not, surviving on 4 hours of sleep, because I had, partners around the globe at one instance, and I had deliverables at all different times. So I was not sleeping enough. And I didn't realize that sleep was so connected to your wellness, because it's almost like you get a badge of honor for, yeah, man, I stayed up overnight and I pulled an all-nighter, right? How many times have you said that with pride? I pulled an all-nighter so that I could finish this thing. I mean, if once in a while that's the case, but for this to be the natural rhythm with which you work, you're going to end up like Ariana Huffington and drop down and lick your head, bust it on a table, right? So we talked about the importance of sleep and how she shifted her sleep schedule. She goes to bed early because she's an early riser and she wants to make sure she's able to get the most out of her day. And she talked about sleep being a key factor in something that influences her ability to deliver. And it's around clarity. Clarity comes when you are well rested. Clarity comes when you have slept and can wake up refreshed and step into your day knowing what you're going after. Being able to set up yourself with your morning routine. She talked a little bit about her morning routine, not rushing into the day. I can tell it categorically, when I have not just enough sleep, but coming out of my sleep, I enter my day in a way that's not rushed or feeling anxious or anything like that. Those are the best days. Those are the most productive days for me, right? So check yourself. All phones now have sleep trackers. If you don't have a sleep tracker on your phone, just naturally like Apple, my iPhone has it, you can download an app. I recently downloaded this app called Sleepiest. It's the cutest thing ever. Nurture your sleep, nurture yourself, nurture your loving care for yourself with more sleep. Don't sleep on the sleep, okay? Anywho, wrapping up, that's my time, guys. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Reflections. Make sure that you are on your path to always learning and relearning, right? So that you can be a part of the future, right? You don't make yourself obsolete. Get your sleep and make sure that when you're choosing that partner, you are choosing somebody that is supportive of your journey. All right? Thanks so much, ladies. Take care, and we'll talk soon again on another episode of the Balanced Lady Boss Show.